Okay, we're live with a little more off-topic stream. So we have two people with us in here, and if you want to get in, you can just message me if you're watching this live, of course. And we're gonna start off with kind of the oh crap. I have God damn it. Yeah, well, it was the stream. I have it on. It suddenly came on. So yeah, I had it on the background. I muted the sound, so you didn't, guys didn't hear it, but I heard it. Anyways, the big topic is Star Wars, basically dropping the trailer and basically the internet crashing.
Always. You know what was so much funnier was the boycott Star Wars thing made by the trolls. You could tell it was a troll work.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
To buy it.
That was just a freaking mess. Like, I actually had to do a sort of like a news report on that at my school for broadcasting, and we were actually talking about it. And basically, I don't know how people thought like this was a legitimate thing. This was pretty much Mad Max. You remember the protests about Mad Max? It was pretty much just that all over again.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, I saw the article. I think it was Hollywood Reporter or something. I shared it in the Skype group. Yeah, I don't know if you guys looked over it. It's basically the journalist basically saying it's white genocide when it's just basically people in the tweets were saying cultural appropriation or cultural Marxism. I mean, you can say those are troll or not, but the journalist did an even worse job than those who were actually trying to troll or even start a conversation. It's just hilarious. It's just
like they did absolutely no research whatsoever.
No.
Like, I read like a lot of the articles, and like there was like 3 of them that blamed Gamergate for it, and I'm like, no,
What?
I'm not kidding. Yes. Salon did it. Salon was one of them.
God.
I think Salon, the Mary Sue, and there was one more. Shoot, I forget what it was. But
Salon
like,
and Mary Sue, yeah.
oh, good lord. It was just
Come
insane.
on, the website for pedophiles now. Pedophile safe zone. Salon.
Wow.
Well,
That is just
pedophile-like.
Yeah, I mean, it looks to that Star Wars is gonna outsell anything because the records of AMC and other chains, it's like 8 times and 10 times the ticket sales. So people are gonna watch it, no doubt.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
probably watch it 2 or 3 times. We have an IMAX. We have an IMAX style theater. It's called the Big D. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good joke. But it's called the Big D. Carmike does it, and I've heard so many jokes about it. Yeah, we're going to the Big D and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just like this huge big ass screen and stuff like that. Leatherback seats that recline, and you get to watch movies and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna be watching Star Wars in that theater.
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, people have been. I know people bitch about the prequels. I personally, I like them.
Good, like the fight, the ending fight in episode 1 was awesome. It was just how they overdid it with Anakin Skywalker that made it just like, really, guys?
I wouldn't say it's the actors or even the story. It's more the directing from George Lucas.
Yes, George Lucas shouldn't direct. He had like 2 other people direct for Empire Strikes Back and Return.
No, one.
Directors.
Richard Marquand, Ivan Kershner, and I can't remember for the New Hope. But yeah, you're right about that. I thought you meant for one of them.
No, I'm saying Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. George Lucas did those ones. I mean, not George Lucas. He had, I forgot the name of him, but like the guy, for instance, Han Solo, when he was the iconic scene where he's getting lowered in the carbonite, Leia says, "I love you." He was George Lucas had written as "I love you too," and the director and Harrison Ford said that sucks, and he says, "Let's make him sound more like a pimp," and he says, "I know."
Yeah.
I don't think that's what a pimp would say in that situation.
I know, baby. You know, I know you love me. Yeah, that's what a pimp would definitely say.
No, there was some ad-libbing, I think, from Harrison Ford as well, at least in the first two
No, but
movies.
the director says that is not what Han Solo would say, though. I love you too. Han Solo would not say that. He would not say that word. And they knew, and he thought that. That director says that's not Han Solo would do. Han Solo's a scoundrel. So, and Harrison Ford agreed, and Harrison Ford just ad-libbed right there.
Oh, and by the looks of it, it's I don't know. Do you guys think it's gonna crash the box office?
Well, I mean, it's Star Wars, and there are a lot of Star Wars fans out there, so I'm definitely thinking it's gonna definitely break some records. But in terms of the actual movie itself, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna hold my suspicions until I actually see the movie. Because when I was like looking at news for the Star Wars movie, I started getting a little skeptical. Because I don't know exactly what Disney is planning to do with this movie. It looks good so far, and I know they have done some like sci-fi stuff like Tron and Tron Legacy, which was pretty good, I will admit. But I'm gonna see exactly what they're gonna do before I make any judgments.
Oh yeah. I want to see I'm hopeful about Star Wars. I really am. I'm really hopeful about it, but I'm a little skeptical in the same way. Same with Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I was hopeful for it, but I'm also very skeptical for it.
True, true.
And the game turned out really well. I was surprised. The game turned out incredibly well. So, you know what? When you lower your hype, what I've learned is when you lower the hype, it actually turns out better. I mean,
But
2014
like,
is a year of hype, and now 2015 is a year of skepticism.
yeah. But I mean, the thing about like especially when it comes to doing like any professional critique or criticism of something, like you have to. Whoa, what the heck? How come there's two Andradels? What's going on? Did you do a shadow clone jutsu or something?
He it must have logged him out, and the account sometimes stays or something crashed. That happens.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so what I was trying to say was, when you're trying to do like any sort of professional critique, you have to set what hype like may have been pushed aside as well as like your own personal thoughts. And we're gonna get into that soon, but like for anyone who's looking to, just do any sort of critique, you're gonna have to like try and set that aside and actually like look at what's really there and actually look at whatever you're reviewing for what it is essentially, and just judge it based on its merits. And we're gonna go into this like a little bit further. But speaking of Star Wars, you guys, Leon, have you tried Battlefront?
Oh yeah, it sucks.
Really?
Let me put it like this: controls really good, graphics really good, effects really good, gameplay and amount of content I'm skeptical on, and I think the game's can turn out, and that's can be its own downfall. And then the $50 DLC season pass also going to be a downfall.
Yeah, the DLC season pass, that's definitely gonna hurt it. Um, from what I've seen, it definitely plays a lot like Battlefield.
Yes.
Of course, it is the studio that made Battlefield, and I expected as much. And it looks like it does have potential. Like I played the previous Battlefield games, which were really really fun. So I'm interested to see where it goes exactly. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I mean, let's just face it.
But I mean, they are pushing this game a lot, right?
Yes,
the advertising for this game
the
is
hell out of it, which
yeah.
is what doubtful. I mean, look at what happened to Destiny.
Yeah. But I mean, with
It was the
Destiny,
most hyped 7 out of 10 in history.
But I mean, with Destiny, like when they were doing the advertising for it, they used footage that was like nowhere like in the game. Like they made the game seem like it was a lot more than it actually was. But with Battlefront, you definitely saw what was in the game. Like in terms of actual gameplay footage, I don't think they used anything else that was extra, or at least from what I saw. So I don't think there was any like dishonesty on that front, unless I'm wrong. Unless there was like another ad that they put out that may be misleading. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now, and the complete edition or the ultimate edition is $120.
Oh, jeez. Oh yeah, Angry Joe like made a rant about that.
$50 season pass.
No. You don't want the $50 season pass. You don't want $59.99. You want $69.99. Oh no, wait. You want $119.99 for the season pass.
Why do they expect that we'll pay more for this? And I hope people are smart enough to look at this and say, no, I am not going to buy this. I hope people are smart enough to do this.
But you know what? Like, to be honest, we kind of let it go out of control. You know what I mean? Like, from the beginning, like when this was going on, like we had the opportunity to like nip it in the bud, but of course, like as time went on, like it just
dumbasses that bought DLC for Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 are all to blame for this. I haven't bought any DLC for that. I didn't buy any DLC for that game. I was smart. I never bought DLC for that game. The only DLC I ever bought are expansion packs, like, for instance, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, for instance, on my PC. I actually bought the Ultimate Edition, but when I had it for PS3, when it came out, I bought Dragonborn and Dawnguard because, let's just face it, they were expansion packs. They added content to the single-player game and made it interesting. But they don't do that. They just add these stupid, dumbass maps. They don't add new story. They don't add new adventures that you can spend hours upon hours in, except and not hold this hostage saying, if you don't buy this, you won't be able to play in the multiplayer.
Yeah,
and
but like
there's only one game that did it right with DLC that I can know of was Payday 2, because they don't penalize you for not having the DLC. I mean, yes, you would have to buy the DLC to get the grenades, but you don't have to have the DLC to play with everybody else. You can still play on those maps.
True. And similar thing with Gundam Extreme Versus. You can still play with people online. And for the DLC suits, even if you don't have the DLC suits, you can still play with people who do have all the DLC suits. But the thing is, like, there is a pattern to this, that as soon as they come up with DLC, like even Skyrim, like they came out with DLC with all the expansion packs, and then of course, sooner or later, Ultimate Edition came out. So in my case, like from what I learned from this, and I learned this with Blaze Blue, I made the mistake of when Chrono Phantasma came out, I bought the original game, and so like usually like when I bought Blaze Blue, or any other sort of fighting game, I would just wait. I would wait for the Ultimate Edition to come out, or like the best edition where it comes out with everything, even all the DLC, so the complete edition, so to speak.
Yes.
So I would just play the waiting game. I made that mistake with
DLCs and stuff. DLC is one of the biggest problems. Second biggest problems are microtransactions, which is starting to overtake DLC. And another one is what we learned in 2014 of seeing what happened to the games are pre-orders. Pre-ordering. I mean, what I remember, because I'm an old guy. I'm 25 years old. Into the gaming universe. I'm an old guy.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day when it was just there were even the early seventh gen, where it was just PS3 and Xbox 360, where they didn't have big enough hard drives for you to download the whole game. So you had to go to the store and pick it up and stuff. And it was a super popular game. If it was a super popular game, super popular, chances are you might not get it because everybody else wants it, and you might be too late. That's why you have to pre-order the game, so you at least have your copy reserved. But anymore, you don't have to worry about that. They not only do they send enough copies out for us. Not only do they really have enough copies, but we have downloadable games now. We can download them and stuff.
Yeah, true.
We have internet speeds fast enough. We have internet speeds fast enough, and we have enough space in our system. So, granted, 500 gigabytes is not enough on a PS4 and Xbox One when they first came out, but still, we at least had enough space to download a game or two.
Yeah, more than enough space.
Yes.
And the thing is, like, to take away from this, is just be patient, play the waiting game. It's better to save your money, and then when the complete edition. I say this because of course NetherRealm Studios came up with that wonderful term. Thank you, NetherRealm Studios and Ed Boon.
Yeah, they call it because it's the full game. You have to wait 2 years to get Destiny, for instance. Yeah, we had to wait a long time for it to come out, and I felt like an idiot for buying it because it's you know what, beta seemed really good, so I'm gonna buy the full game. But I shouldn't have. It was stupid to buy that full game. It was really stupid. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be a good game because the beta, the full game looks like a good beta. I mean, seriously, when the full game came out, it looked like a good beta, and I didn't know that was going to be the full game. So I was like, you know what, this looks like a good game, so I'll buy it. And I want to see what the full game looks like, and guess what? That was the full game.
Yeah, true. I tried the beta, I pretty much just tried out all three types of characters, and I'm like, meh, it's okay. I'm not that much into it. But when I saw people playing the full game, there were a lot of people complaining about hey, this isn't exactly what I paid for. This isn't exactly what I thought, was advertised.
Speaking of season passes and stuff, Fallout 4 has a $30 season pass.
Oh boy!
But if you look at the history of how they have the season passes in the past, of how Bethesda's done the season passes, or not season passes, the DLC that they do, or the expansion packs, because they actually do actual expansion packs.
Mm-hmm.
They're usually $15 to $20 each. They've done, I think it was Elder Scrolls was $20 each and stuff, and they usually do more than just 3. So with Fallout anyway, they did I think they did 5 on Fallout 3 and 4 on New Vegas. So I wouldn't be surprised if they cough out more than 4. So if they do $15 each for Fallout DLC, it could be a deal. I'm not sure yet. I'm hoping. I'm saving on the season pass until I find out how many DLC they're giving you, how much of the DLC they're giving you.
Well, even then, I still would advise to wait until that complete edition comes out.
I'm not gonna wait till the complete edition of Fallout. I've been waiting for this game for a long time now, and they've put many years into it, so I wouldn't put it behind him for being a crappy game. So,
I'm not saying the game's gonna be crappy. I'm just saying,
Wait for it to be complete. Yes, if people aren't a fan of the series and they want to try something, New Vegas and Fallout 3 are like $10 and $20. I think $10 for both the Ultimate Editions for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. Just try those out first, and if you like them, get Fallout 4. But if not, just wait till. If you're not a fan of the series, just wait till the complete edition. I agree with Captain. You just wait till the complete edition.
Patience, it's a virtue.
Yes. I don't want to open my windows up. Jesus Christ. Freaking.
Alright. Well, in any case, I think we're gonna continue on. I don't know how Andrelo is doing on his end.
Gaming industry, it's all shit. Speaking of shit that was in the gaming industry, Anita Sarkeesian's review of Assassin's Creed Syndicate was total shit.
Oh boy, that was magic. I don't know about you guys, but that was just, oh my god.
The game. She never played that game. I don't think she ever played it. Because
Okay.
I just stopped playing it because I need to take breaks when I play that game. Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's a really, really good game. I have to say it like that. It's basically one of the best in the series. Surprised that it would turn out to be one of the best. Anita Sarkeesian complained about a lot of shit in that game. I mean, a lot of shit that she doesn't know. She heard other people say it was shit. Oh my god.
Well, before we move on, let's just finish the topic of Star Wars.
Okay.
I think you have your speakers loud, Leon.
Give me a second here. I'll move my mic away from it. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, they're just
There we go. Moved.
okay. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I don't know. Oh, there. That's why. JT joined. No, my screen froze. Yeah.
Like, he's
the
been going in and out. He's having a little bit of problems, but hopefully he can get it fixed.
Yeah, my OS I think freeze. That's why I had to reboot my PC. So that's why I had
I've been having that technical issue.
Well, the
Alright.
whole thing with Star Wars, I heard you were going a little bit back and forth with a few games, but I think it's gonna be a phenomenon. This starting a whole new. We know EA has the license for Star Wars. I don't know if they're gonna milk the shit out of that, but
They will.
I'm not
Yeah,
surprised if they do.
They're planning to make another Star Wars game, and from what I heard,
Yeah.
they're using the same one from that Bounty Hunter one.
Yeah, 1313. It's Visceral, I think, developing it right now.
Yeah, and I understand that Jade Ramon is going to be producing that one.
Yeah, from Ubisoft, I think. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's Amy Hennig producing it. She's doing the other one, I think. I think there are two
Oh,
being
okay.
developed.
Okay, because I thought Jade Ramon, because I heard that she was also helping making
Yeah,
the
it's
Star Wars
I
franchise.
think that's the other one because I think there are two more are being developed. That's why.
Oh, okay.
And I think I don't know. We're getting two Star Wars movies now within a year, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you can. It's possible.
Pushed out there. They're treating Star Wars like it's Marvel, so if they treat it like it's Marvel, you're gonna see not only 2 but maybe 3 movies in 1 year.
No, it's gonna be one a year.
One a year.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be every second year a main one, and the year between it's gonna be an anthology movie. So we're gonna get episode 7 now. Next year we're gonna get Rogue One, then episode 8, and then we're gonna get a movie about Han Solo, then episode 9, and then it's rumored to be an Obi-Wan anthology where he fights, where the conclusion between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan concludes between episode 3 and 4. But that's just rumor.
I see.
For those who don't know and haven't watched the Clone Wars shows, Darth Maul is still alive. Those who haven't watched the Clone Wars, he did survive, and his brother helped save him. Long story short, Darth Maul is still alive.
Yeah, and actually what happens like during the Clone Wars with Darth Maul during that season is really freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, check it out. It's actually a really good watch.
I think it's still
Yeah, it's still on Netflix, but they're also doing another series, which is Rebels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one, guys. Trust me, it's a really good one.
Well, I just wanted to talk about, because the one thing they've actually done right so far with Star Wars Episode 7 is the PR campaign, or the advertising for it. They've done it beautifully, perfectly for it, because we see it in the sales. The trailers themselves don't spoil anything, which just look at movies like Terminator Genesis, which spoil the whole fucking movie in 2 minutes. So we have to give them props for that. Any last thoughts on Star Wars before we move on?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Here's the thing I found out about it is that both Jade Ramone and Emmy Henning is actually writing while Jade Ramone is actually producing.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, because Amy's actually probably writing the storyline behind it. So do you know Amy Henning?
Yeah, Uncharted director and writer. So, well, let's move on to the next topic, which is, do you want to do the post or a screen share or a review or something before we go to the Anita Sarkeesian review?
No.
Captain.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'm gonna screen share. Hold on a sec, if I can. Let me see if I can find. Shoot. Here we go. I'm gonna screen share this. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna show you the difference between her review and my review, which I did on a website that I run. So, and you're gonna see the difference between like the atypical professional review and Anita's review.
Oh God.
Okay.
Okay.
That'll be the best attempt ever.
Okay, I'm gonna read this word for word while skipping all the boring stuff.
Well,
Okay.
we have the video. We have the video for Anita Sarkeesian. You don't have to read that. You can take another review and read of that.
Okay, so well, I have my review lined up here. So
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll do her review.
Because
right
we're gonna watch. No, I have it. So we.
Oh, you have it. You have it.
Yeah. If you want to read yours first, and then we can watch and compare it to her video later. I have it on Go. So.
Okay. I was gonna do it the other way around, but okay. Sure. Okay, so DMC, Highway to Hell. Devil May Cry by Ninja Theory is unlike anything we have seen before from the classic series previously made internally by Capcom. What the game may lack in a well-executed plot or well-developed characters, it makes up for in great combat and well-crafted gameplay. Gameplay for the most part takes place in limbo, and the combat itself has more of a freestyle feel that allows players to use all their weapons at once. This may feel awkward at first, even if you are a Devil May Cry veteran. However, once you get used to it, you will start to rack up combo points and triple S ranks easily. The enemies in this game always let you know when they're going to attack, so if you mess up, it's your own fault. Though there is a lack of variety with only 5 types of enemies. DMC's difficulty settings help provide the player with interesting scenarios despite limited enemy types. In Dante Must Die mode, enemies are harder to kill, inflict more damage, come in larger waves, and are able to use Devil Trigger themselves. In Heaven and Hell mode, the conditions are similar to Dante Must Die mode, However, both Dante and all enemies, including bosses, can die in one hit. In Hell in Hell mode, only Dante is vulnerable to being killed in one shot, making this the hardest difficulty. There are also secret missions scattered around each level that provide their own unique challenges as well. In classic Devil May Cry games, the gameplay took place in the real world, and you could only equip one melee and one ranged weapon, and you could only switch your weapons in the menu. On top of that, the enemies were more diverse and more challenging, require a higher degree of skill to overcome. The role of Devil Trigger in classic Devil May Cry games was also much deeper mechanic that allowed Dante to use magic and other special powers instead of just being a simple damage modifier that it is in DMC. The story of DMC has much promise with a plot that is more politically charged than your atypical game. However, DMC fails to execute on it. In DMC, the demons have taken over the world through the government, corporations, and news networks. And the game uses this concept in its various levels, each taking place in limbo, a distorted version of reality that exposes the demon's corruption. If DMC was simply trying to be a more violent, demonic version of They Live, they would have been fine. Sadly, DMC wants to be taken seriously, and these environments undercut that. But among these levels, there are only two that stand out. The first level being made completely out of news graphics, and the other taking place inside of a dance club that looks like it's taken straight out of Tron. In the classic Devil May Cry games, the setting for the story usually takes place in or around a haunted castle, and the story mainly focused on Dante, his family, demons, and the underworld. While these games are still very tongue-in-cheek, in parts, it was also a lot easier to take them seriously when the game's plot demanded it. The characters in DMC are also not well executed either, due to the voice acting or the characters themselves. Dante in DMC is rude, arrogant, and tries to use as much profanity as possible. However, he possesses a light side to him from Devil May Cry. Dante from Devil May Cry had a wild, thrill-seeking nature, and he always craved a challenge and possessed more tact. DMC, for the most part, tries to add in a few moments of drama between characters, especially Dante and his brother Virgil. But the execution for these scenes always seemed awkward and silly, for the most part. This is also true with many other characters in the game, where 1 second the game is telling some elongated penis joke, and the next someone is telling you about their abusive father. The plot and character interactions in DMC come off as scattershot at best and schizophrenic at worst. Overall, DMC is a mixed bag that pales in comparison to its predecessors. Where it falls short in executing its plot and characters, it truly shines when it comes to its gameplay and entertainment value. And you can see my score right here. So, if you were to compare that to Anita Sarkeesian's video, oh boy, it's just something else.
Yeah, let me stop presenting. 1 sec.
Alright, I'll
There
stop
go,
this.
and,
The screen
yeah,
share.
and now
There we go.
there we go.
Alright.
Yeah. So let me do my thing now. Let's see. Here, okay. I'm gonna present it for everyone. You can see.
Okay.
So there we go. Sorry about me. Okay, close this down. So let's. If you want to comment on anything, just say something. I'm gonna stop the video.
Okay.
Okay. Just mute yourself. You have some background noise or JT. But I'm gonna play the video.
Oh,
now,
it's
okay?
the Halloween party they're planning.
Okay. Here we go.
2 assassins, equal in height, 1 female, 1 male, 2 decades old,
You guys can hear this, right?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Yep,
Okay.
I can hear it.
and those devilish smiles. You must be the Fry twins.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate is the latest entry in Ubisoft's long-running open-world franchise. And although the gameplay is exactly what you'd expect from an Assassin's Creed game, Syndicate distinguishes itself from its predecessors. It stands apart not because of improved mechanics or visual design.
I would like to just point out she just takes it as something that everyone knows what even Assassin's Creed is. She doesn't even explain it's an open world third-person action adventure game. That's that should be said in like the first 20 seconds. It's not. Oh, it's the same as any other Assassin's Creed game. But I digress.
Duh.
Well,
It
I'll get it. I'll get into my like 2 cents when I explain the differences. But this is all like stuff like you need to take in.
Yeah, well, we can comment, but we're gonna do the most of the commenting afterwards, of course. But if there's anything that stands out, just say something.
Yeah.
Fine. But because its developers have made noticeable attempts to portray a more inclusive cast of characters. Syndicate follows twin assassins Jacob and Evie Fry on their quest to liberate the oppressed working class of 19th century London from ruling class thug Crawford Starrick and free the city from the Templars' control. It's clear that Starrick is a monster from the first moment we see him because of his evil mustache and his penchant for punching desks. Preceding the release of last year's Unity, Ubisoft came under intense public...
Hold up. She said inclusive. In this whole thing, it's like an inclusive cast of characters, like
the other games haven't been inclusive before.
Yeah, and it's like she said inclusive, and it's like, you know, there's like, oh, sorry, hold on. It's just.
Well, I can just go through quickly.
Like different. You remember in the video? You remember in all the games, they always say that they always include everybody in the game, like different religions, different viewpoints, different ideas, and historical accuracy. And Anita's saying inclusive.
Like that's actually a new thing.
Yeah.
Just let me say what kind of Assassin's Creed is. Has had Assassin's Creed 1, where you play Altair, who is basically a Muslim. He never really says it, but it's in the Middle East, so he's basically a Muslim. You have Assassin's Creed 2, where you have an Italian. And with Brotherhood and Revelation, yeah. But in Revelation,
Adatore da Forense.
but in Revelations, it's in Turkey, so a lot of minorities again there. Then you have Assassin's Creed 3, which is half Native American and half white, and then you have Assassin's Creed 4. You have the first white protagonist of the series.
Technically white.
Yeah,
and he has a Jamaican as a friend.
And that West Indian character became the main character in the DLC.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Freedom's Cry.
And you have Assassin's Creed Liberation, where you have Evelyn as the main protagonist. And you have now Unity, where you had a French, Arnaud, which was the main protagonist, but was very much shared. The main story was very much shared with the female protagonist. You couldn't play.
And there's also the other Assassin's Creed, which I forgot. The other one that was a side scroller that was based. Yeah, Rogue, which I believe that was the Chinese girl, right?
No. I'm gonna go through that. You have Rogue, where you play as an Irish. You have Chronicles, which are 3D, basically three side-scrolling, where you play one Asian, I think it's Chinese, and you play one Russian dude, and God damn it, I can't remember. And there was one PSP game where you play as. I think it was Ukrainian, Aquilis, I think was his name. And now you have with Syndicate twins, a female and a male. And saying this series is not fucking exclusive, even though you might hate or like the gameplay, is just fucking ignorance.
I know, and it's like she probably never played this series before.
Yeah. So let's continue before I continue to rant.
criticism for its repeated lack of playable female characters in the core games. 2012's Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I just have to. The reason why you weren't playing in the co-op as a female was because you were playing as Arno, you fucking idiots.
Creed 3 had a tie-in game, Liberation, starring a female protagonist, but it was not a core entry in the series, and in its initial release was relegated exclusively to handheld. Syndicate is a clear response to
which isn't true because it was later released.
It's also on PC and also on Xbox 360 and PlayStation. And PC and PlayStation 3.
So again,
digitally.
She's lying. She's lying again.
Gamers' increased desire for more capable and powerful female options. Promotional materials for the game emphasize Jacob as the primary protagonist, leaving some wondering just how big a role Evie would play.
Ladies and gentlemen, the unstoppable Fry twins.
From Syndicate's first moments, we see the twins together, and after completing a short mission with Jacob, we immediately start playing as Evie. Throughout the game, each twin is assigned specific missions that are catered to their individual interests in London's liberation. But outside of that, players are given the choice to alternate between the siblings while navigating Syndicate's open world. Sadly, as the larger story unfolds, Jacob's narrative dominates, meaning that if players don't actively choose to play as Evie in side missions, they don't engage with her very often. It's frustrating that the story focuses increasingly on Jacob as it approaches the end, not only because having the twins be truly equal protagonists would have been rare and significant, but also because Evie is easily the more compelling of the two.
That's a subjective opinion. That's a fucking subjective opinion.
Completely subjective. Like, how does she even know? Like, what makes her so much more significant than her twin brother? Like, what exactly about Evie makes her the superior character?
I think it's because of her throat-cutting abilities.
No, like, I can guarantee you, it has nothing to do with her gameplay mechanics. It has to be through some sort of subjective personality thing. Like throughout the entire video, she hardly ever talks about the gameplay mechanics or anything else about the game other than the characters and a little bits of the story here and there.
No, she always does that. She does this all the time. She basically says, as you can see, the character is very much complex and very easy to look at in the eyes. As you might as well know, it's also the male character that I'm annoyed about, which they should have focused on the female character.
Well, the difference here, JT, is that this is a review, not a analysis or critique or whatever what the fuck she's doing in her other videos. This is a review supposed to be objective, and so far she's failing very much in this in the 2 minutes we've gone through so far.
That's and I want to give a shout out to Rami, where she says, titties make everything better. And you know what? I kind of have to agree. In the words of Martyr, where there are boobs, life will find a way.
She also said it's all deflections to push the Islamic agenda. Well, let's continue.
There was a slight complication.
How slight?
The lab exploded.
Jacob.
You derailed a train.
Oh, he did. Did he?
Well, the train derailed and I happened to be on it.
Jacob is arrogant, pompous, and quick to action without understanding the consequences. While Evie is charismatic, focused, intelligent, and forced to clean up her brother's messes. There are small, easy-to-overlook details put into Evie's character design that contribute to why she feels so refreshing in a AAA landscape that is notorious for excluding and sexualizing women.
Oh my god.
Here we go again.
Yeah, she basically focuses on the male character's bad side, then she tries to focus on the good side of the female character.
Again, I can pull just quick before you go, Captain. I can pull again the two examples. Last year's Assassin's Creed Unity, where you have a love interest, but where basically she's the female protagonist. You have two main leads. It's a female and Arno. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but basically, and she's never fucking sexualized in that. And you have Evelyn, who also kicks ass. I mean, Jesus Christ! Oh my fucking God!
Of course, you'll never hear her mention that now, would you?
Go ahead, Captain, and say whatever you want to say.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, but what about the other Fry twin? There's Evie and I forget the other one's name. But like
Jacob and Evie.
Okay, Jacob. Like what about like Jacob? Like what are some of like the stuff like that he does? Since we're on this topic.
Well, I can understand the whole issue about it. He's bad cop, while Evie is good cop.
No, it's more like he's more what should I say, rash, and she's the more cerebral one, you could say. But why? Oh my God, she doesn't even go into why Jacob is a fucking idiot. Basically, that's what she's saying.
But I mean, like, there's obviously way more to Jacob's character than just, oh, he's brains while she's brawn while she's brains. So, and plus, their fighting styles are like completely different. Like Jacob is more like open and brutal, while Evie is more stealthy. Like it shows well in the game. Like that's the type of the characters they are. And yes, of course, Jacob has to be more brash and brazen. I mean, he's basically the guy out on the streets who's like, doing gathering most of the people like around, like his and his sister's cause.
His cause, yeah. They're trying to, start a revolution or something.
Yeah, they are. And Evie's the one who's working from the shadows. They don't see her face too often. So, oh boy.
Let's go ahead and continue.
That needs
let's continue. Yeah.
These details are sometimes easier to notice by identifying what she isn't rather than what she is. Evie is not objectified. She is not sexualized, and she is not created exclusively for the sexual arousal of a presumed straight male audience.
Pause.
Stop right there. Stop it right there. Okay, she's saying Evie's not created. Okay, she has a cute face though. I have to admit she has a cute face. But
oh my God.
It's basically gaze theory all over again. The male gaze. Ooh.
The male gaze. Yeah. And Evie's face is like, I have to say that face is cute though. But the thing is, it's stupid. It's like, no, that's the point. We're not sexually objectifying the woman because, well, she's there. It's because she's a character in a game.
But even still, it's like, okay, so I'm gonna give you a perfect example of this, of like the sort of thing like she tries to talk about, like King of Fighters. There are a lot of female characters in King of Fighters, and even though the majority of them are, I would say, dressed very classy, like King, Vice, mature. Let's see, who else can I think of? Oh yeah, Kula. There's like plenty of them, and a lot of them are dressed in a classy fashion. But one could also say that they may be sexy to them. It's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's completely subjective.
Yes, it is.
But to say that in the other games of the series, the females are just created for the male gaze. Or I mean, there aren't even any sex scenes in any of them. The only thing I can remember, and if anyone watches, please correct me if I'm wrong. The only instance where you actually have some sort of actual sex, which you know about, is in Assassin's Creed 2, where you jump out the window after you have had sex with some girl with Ezio, and when he's young and rash and just doesn't think of his consequences, he's basically a brat. And you also have in Unity, but there's nothing sexual there. He's basically just kissing the female protagonist, and then he runs because
there's also Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag where I seem to remember what's his name tried to talk to his girl about
Kenway.
Yeah, Kenway. Edward Kenway talking to his girl about his plans.
I can't remember that, but yeah. Let's continue before we just face.
Yeah, he was trying to make money, telling the girl, "I need to make money."
Boy.
Before we face task.
Another face palm. Go ahead.
She's dressed appropriately. Her fighting moves are not sexualized, and her combat grunts are forceful.
Who the fuck fights sexually?
I can't. The only thing closest to that I can imagine would be Bayonetta. But even though like she does like act like in a sexy manner like while she fights, it's still badass. And I don't think of her any less because of that. That is the only thing close to that I can think of.
Mostly her moves are all cheesy attacks, and I thought they were funny. There's also I know King of the Fighters. King of the Fighters is another one. King of the Fighters is another example. I forgot what that one chick that does that butt move.
Like the butt move.
Yeah, like, that whole. She uses her butt to attack.
Are you sure you're not thinking of our Mika from Street Fighter?
I think it's that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that. Well, she's a wrestler, and like the whole like Flying Peach thing, that was more or less a joke. Like, she was basically, like, the joke character from Alpha 3, and they did add her in the new Street Fighter 5.
Okay.
She's a very fun character.
Well, let's continue.
Yeah.
Fierce, instead of sounding like she's in the throes of ecstasy. Evie doesn't feel like a male character who was a last-minute gender swap, but like she was developed from the ground up with a strong, capable, and spirited personality. A humanized, playable female protagonist isn't the only thing that distinguishes Syndicate from its predecessors.
Ta-ta!
Charles Dickinson.
We meet an amusing cast of historical characters such as Karl Marx, Florence Nightingale.
Oh, gee! I wonder why she mentioned Karl Marx.
He and Jacob's allies also include Henry Green, a British Indian assassin, and Ned Weiner, a successful thief who just happens to be a trans man, and no one in the world thinks anything of it.
But why again? Why again is this in the fucking review? Why is he mentioning the transgender character or showing? She just showed the transgender and the two females. Did you see that?
I know.
Karl Marx. That's
Karl Marx.
Basically.
Gee, I wonder why Karl Marx has any sort of significance. Oh, not like Washington had any sort of significance. Not like Ben Franklin had any sort of significance. They do this all the time with historical figures in the Assassin's Creed games.
Yes.
This is nothing new. This is nothing new.
And why showing the you could again. You can say you meet historical characters like Charles Dickens and continue. You don't have to point out that you meet a transgender person who's not even a historical figure. I mean, Jesus.
Like, I can think of like another character besides Evie that is also like an awesome character that is fully clothed, like that is badass, and that's Issa from Infinity Blade. Issa was a really, really fun character, and there was like a lot to Evie than what most people know, and like she helped Cyrus, who was like the main character of the Infinity Blade games, in many situations ever since Infinity Blade 2. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Issa, I don't think shoot, I just said his name. Cyrus would have gotten very far in, like, after the events of number 2 and during the events of Infinity Blade 3. So it's not just like badass female characters is again nothing new. There are plenty of other characters like Evie, like Issa, like who else can I think of?
There's one in Dragon Age Inquisition, which I think is the perfect example. With Iron Bull, she's one of his crew that kicks ass, and I mean, the only way you can actually find out is if you question her. She's a female to male transgender, and or crosser. Rami said it in the chat very well, because we talked about this before we went on air. Is it really a transgender though, and not just a crossdresser? Which is a good point.
That's true. That's true. And even if it is, who cares? There are a lot of like homosexual characters as well as like transgendered or whatever other characters in games before. Like, does anybody remember Ballad of Gay Tony? Does anybody remember that game? I do. and like Tony was not the only gay character in that game. There are like plenty of other ones.
Yeah, in GTA 3, I believe there was one who was gay, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, let's continue.
These characters play supporting or minor roles, but their inclusion is notable. While it might seem unrealistic to imagine women, people of color, and trans folks who are treated and respected as full human beings in 18...
Oh my god. To be treated as full human beings. I mean, I think actually it's Anita who's fucking racist.
Not surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, she kind of went off the deep end.
I mean,
like she hasn't gone full Macintosh from long time. Like, come on.
I mean, to say to basically, I would say that there's no game whatsoever that treat minorities or like humans. I mean, oh my, it's face desk worthy.
That is questionable, highly questionable, and my God, she's making a blanket statement. It's a novel idea for someone to treat a minority as a human being, isn't it?
Hi, Kyle. How's it going?
It's going okay.
Oh boy.
I mean,
let's continue to see how the rest of this happened.
Realism is not really the goal in a game where assassins and Templars have been waging a centuries-old war over artifacts.
No
like
shit.
How it is in every video game.
Or any work of art. Really.
I called it. I called it. She didn't play all the Assassin's Creed games.
Jeez, good lord. Oh my god.
Continue.
Created by an ancient civilization, and where you can leap from the top of St. Paul's Cathedral into a pile of leaves and walk away unharmed.
That's straw, you idiot!
Characters works not because of realism, but
oh Jesus!
That's
Christ.
a staple in the Assassin's Creed games. What else is new?
it's been since the first fucking game. Oh my god!
Because of believability and internal consistency. That believability is a result of the developer's conscious decision to make the presence of these characters normalized and respected by everyone else in the game.
No, it's not.
Throughout this world, I quickly noticed a significant number of female combatants, goading you into battle with the same tenacity and strength as their male.
You know what they're gonna bitch about next? Is if you play as Jacob and kick the shit out of these women.
And I bet you could probably do the same thing with Evie too. So, and if that be the case, then what is there to complain about? Like, I mean, like, really?
I mean,
they're gonna bitch anyways. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah,
right.
Every single game ever must have females every single place we look. Like in every pixel, there must be a hidden female.
And must have transgender people in the game.
Or they must have a random Aboriginal guy in there just to say hi. I'm Aboriginal. Hi, I'm a random Aboriginal character.
No,
this means this game is diverse, so you can go on your merry way now.
Oh no!
This game is diverse.
it'll be like a quota where every game has to have 50% of the cast as female, and you have to have at least one person from every single nationality and creed and sexual orientation from around the world. That's what it's going to be.
And religious belief too. It's like, oh, you have to have a Zoroastrian in there or something, or a Taoist in there.
Oh, you can have the atheist as long as they're atheism plus.
Or a Taoist Buddhist.
I bet you the criticism will go like this: because this game didn't feature Zoroastrianism in its fullest extent, and didn't have a character who worshipped that religion. This means this game is very, 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 very against people who are worshiping that religion, because it didn't include them at all, despite not being related in any way and being in an anachronistic timeline for that religion.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah, there's no there's no Taoist, there's no Buddhist, there's no...
Let's continue before we start ranting of shit that doesn't matter, so let's continue.
Counterparts. There are many valid concerns around portrayals of violence against women in games because too often such scenarios trivialize the real-world epidemic of gendered abuse. But Syndicate avoids...
Called it. Called it. I called it.
So you want female bad guy characters, but you don't want anything bad to happen to them?
Hold on, wait, Adrenal, can you go back and replay that again? I want to hear that again.
Yeah, one sec, because I have full screen. Here, I think we were.
You can just click on the timeline. All right.
No
valid concern.
No, because I have this.
Just play it.
Around portrayals of violence against women in games because too often such scenarios trivialize the real-world epidemic of gendered abuse. But Syndicate avoids...
It's not an epidemic. It's literally not an epidemic. This is a rare case.
Well,
and
it's a rare
that
case.
Is real and turn it into a joke.
Wait. Let me just interject for those who aren't familiar with this line of argument. There are epidemics of gendered violence in, let's say, parts of Africa, the Middle East, Asia. You could say parts of Europe, even in North America, where spousal abuse is not focused on by police forces. But
Sweden.
Having said that, we are not living in the Middle Ages anymore in Western society.
Also,
violence against women is looked down on when it is found out, okay? In almost all cases.
And not only that, like when she normally mentions like the epidemic of like violence against women or rape culture, she normally means the Western world, especially in America, which is not really prevalent considering the fact that not only is it looked down upon, it is also a federal offense. And besides, if rape culture was actually a thing, especially on college campus, do you realize how many college and university campuses would be shut down because of it?
Yeah.
Does she even realize this?
Yes, and also 1 out of 5 women will be abducted and raped by aliens from outer space. Is that true?
At that point, it wouldn't even be like a legitimate school anymore. It would be a sex trafficking ring. That's what it would be. But no, that's not what is happening here.
Okay, let's continue.
This problem by framing the female enemies as competent, capable, and practically dressed. Syndicate also addresses a criticism that I've leveled at the series in the past. The presence of prostitutes who could be recruited as cover...
They're not actually prostitutes, you fucking idiots.
Just let it continue.
...to help its male protagonists blend in. I kept waiting for these bundles of objectified women to appear on every corner, but Ubisoft has completely removed this blending in mechanic, and with it, its troubling portrayals of women as non-playable sex objects.
Troubling. Please define troubling.
You do realize the player character couldn't have sex with these prostitutes in any of the previous games, right, Anita? Right?
They weren't actually prostitutes.
It's not just female. It's also males as well. Like I used to remember in the first Assassin's Creed, you hang out with the priest, right?
Yeah, and as a blending in mechanic.
Yeah. As a blending in mechanic, but she never, like I said, she never played all the Assassin's Creed games before. She just basically complained about one specific issue of the blending in mechanic with the prostitutes in Black Flag, which is nothing new.
Even if they were prostitutes, let's just analyze her position here. She's arguing that prostitutes should never be depicted in any way other than completely seriously. Like, as in, prostitution is horrible, is this thing against which women have no choice, therefore it should not be depicted in any light whatsoever.
I know, and that has to be the fact that she never played any of the freaking Assassin's Creeds, where the blending in mechanic is not just one specific group of gender, it's also males as well.
Oh, but she'll complain about that. She has done so before, and she'll do it again.
Yeah, was she left out in this review?
Yeah.
Well, let's continue.
Women may be present as soldiers and leaders throughout the criminal ranks of Syndicate's London, but the same cannot be said for people of color. Despite the presence of Henry Green, this is an overwhelmingly white game. It's a...
wrong.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Can you play that again?
It's merry old England. What do you expect, woman?
Play that again.
But the same cannot be said for people of color. Despite the presence of Henry Green, this is an overwhelmingly white game.
And you just showed a Middle Eastern character not too long ago. Like, how can you...
I mean, there were presences of minorities in, like, merry old England, but at the same time, it's still the middle of England.
Yeah, I believe the Chinese with the Boxers Rebellion.
They're even a minority in England today, and at that time they had colonies.
And India.
They did have a presence of minorities in the game, so maybe sort of I could see what she's getting at, but at the same time, it's the middle of England. I can sort of forgive there not being like any like Chinese people in the middle of this game.
No, you know what? Why? Because there's nothing to forgive. Because it's fucking stupid. It's a stupid argument.
And even if that were to be the case, like, what is the big deal? Nobody cares. Like, literally, nobody like gives a damn.
Well, obviously some people do, but
like,
anyways,
not a lot of people do because she hasn't played the previous games.
Well, let's see where she's going with this. Press play.
Yeah, mute yourself, JT.
Opportunity for Syndicate, which could have taken the same approach to people of color that it took to women, making their presence in gangs and throughout the factories and palaces of London just a normalized, internally consistent aspect of the game's world. And for all of its noteworthy efforts where representations are concerned, Syndicate's main story falls short in many ways. The game's writing is quite good in isolated moments. Characters come across as witty, brash, and sometimes endearing, which only makes us want to get to know them better. But sadly, the overall development of the characters and their relationships is lacking. A romance plot is woefully underdeveloped, given just a few lines and a few significant looks between characters. Similarly, the dynamic between the Fry siblings has its highs and lows, but the tension between them is given so little attention that their story arc feels like chunks of it are missing. The narrative presents all the ills plaguing...
Okay.
Alright, so this is where she actually does some video game criticism. Okay, that was actually, you know what, the game is unsatisfactorily written. I just want to go back a few minutes though, when she said that sprinkling a few here and there throughout the game world would probably have made it more believable. Maybe so, maybe. That's all.
But it's like the thing about like the whole romance plot thing. This is what I like to call the Naruto pairing argument. Like, is romance the focus of the story? No, it's not. The story is about liberation, which, okay, you can have like a romance side plot, but that's not really the most important thing, which is why it doesn't get that much attention in the first place.
Yeah, so, but I would argue if you present something in a story, I would expect that aspect to be well written on its own merits. Like, for example, if a television show created a romance arc and it just ended abruptly or unsatisfactorily, that would be a mark against the TV show as a whole, wouldn't it?
True.
Like, actually, you could actually, you could hint towards the relationship, but you don't
yeah,
actually
true,
have to show it, right? You could hint towards it without exactly showing what it is, and it could still be good, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to give it fully away.
I think Captain has a point because it didn't end abruptly or something like that. But at least from what she's saying, so it's basically what Captain's saying. She doesn't even get that. So, but so far it's taken almost 7 minutes to have some legitimate criticism for the game, which is supposed to be a review.
Yes, that is a weakness of her reviewing skills, obviously. So let's continue.
The London of 1868 as a result of the evil Templars, and presents the solution to those ills as killing lots and lots of people. Fighting to liberate the oppressed working classes of London would, in reality, be a noble and extraordinary goal. But reducing such an important issue to an excuse for violent AAA game mechanics does little more than trivialize it.
Okay,
Stop
pause
right
here.
there. Stop right there.
There we go.
Me.
There we go. There's the kicker.
Me. Okay, what type of game do you think this is? This isn't like some sort of visual novel.
No, you don't understand. This is a treatise on capitalism as viewed through the lens of modern-day feminist theory.
Yeah, I figure, which is far from reality. It is.
All I gotta say, it's not real. It's just a story that's not real. It's just.
I mean,
and like
the
not only that.
The point itself, like this was brought up like years ago in ludonarrative dissonance. You all remember that phrase, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ludonarrative dissonance. Technically, okay.
JT, yeah, thanks.
Ludonarrative dissonance. If you guys remember that, GTA 4, where Nikio is like, "Oh, I don't want to be a bad guy anymore," and he kills thousands of people in a random rampage, right?
Yeah.
Like,
or Uncharted as well. Uncharted is another.
Yeah, as a point of criticism, you can almost see where she's going with it. But at the same time, this is an Assassin's Creed game. The point is kind of to do this sort of shit.
Yeah, which is what the point I was about to make. Like, this is an action stealth game. So, of course, combat is going to be one of the core mechanics. You can't change that. This isn't a game like Gone Home or Until
Papers,
Dawn,
Please.
where you just like walk around and like, you know, tap one button and you do something. No, you actually have to do stuff in this game. And fighting is going to be one of them. And this is a core mechanic in every single Assassin's Creed game. So, like, what do you want? Like, that's not even a legitimate criticism.
Yeah, it's if you go into a Call of Duty game and call it like an absurd, let's say, glorification of violence, then obviously you're here for the wrong thing. If you want something that condemns that sort of thing, play Spec Ops: The Line. You'll love it.
Yeah, that's a perfect example, actually. Let's continue.
District is as simple as following signs that say kill and free on the heads of targets. And for all of the Fry twins' charms and good intentions, they are outsiders taking over a struggle that they have no part of. The game presents them as liberators, bringing life.
Wait, what's the problem with that?
Okay, she's saying that they have no part in this conflict. How does she know this? Don't they live in London? Like, weren't they like going through the same thing everything else was?
You know what's ironic here? You know what's fucking ironic here?
What?
You could easily. She just described
that's projection.
herself.
Yeah,
she
that's
just
projection. I always got the projection.
Yeah, she just described herself. Her entire modus operandi.
That's so true. That is actually pretty damn
just true. Yeah, because she's basically saying that they had no intentions.
Well,
like
if you take a look, the reason every one of the protagonists in except for Rogue, of course, or of Rogue, of course, because you basically play a Templar, but in every of the main games, you play as an assassin trying to liberate people. That's your fucking goal, to free people. Yeah, I mean, you can say that and saying Templars are evil isn't really that simple, because they have a different perspective on the same. It's basically yin and yang between these two. They have basically different philosophies, and they basically clash. And the reason to say they don't have any stake in this is fucking stupid, because the stake in this they have is to liberate London from the Templars.
Exactly, and these are citizens that live in London. They are a part of it just as much as anybody else. Like,
and if the Templars are responsible for the bad stuff that happens in the game, they're connected to it.
Exactly.
And I think what I think Anita Sarkeesian means is that these two aren't the poor, fucked up people who have been oppressed for years, because they want to do it by their own free will. And basically not. That I think that's what she's implying. Again, which is a stupid fucking argument.
Because then why would anybody help anyone else ever?
Yes, ever. Let's continue.
London from oppression, but they're really just conquerors, replacing one crime syndicate's rule with another.
Ladies
Again, how do you know?
We are Evie and Jacob Fry. And as of this moment, you all work for us.
The London of Syndicate is both gloomy and lively. It's a place where you'll find yourself in rollicking carriage chases and leaping from boat to boat across the muddy waters of the Thames like you're playing an 1868 version of Frogger. But it's also very much like the cities of earlier Assassin's.
What the fuck did she just make a reference to?
Basically, she tried to equate jumping from ship to ship in this game, equating it back to Frogger, where you're a frog trying to dodge streetcars.
Do you know where she has this from? Do you know where she has this from? Because IGN posted a video, I think a week ago, that said, "Oh, let's have some fun playing Frogger in Assassin's Creed," or something like that. That's where she gets this from.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, that's nothing new. That the jumping from ship to ship is nothing new.
Yeah, let's continue.
Assassin's Creed games. You climb to the tops of beautiful buildings to take in a spectacular view of the city all around you, only to find that nothing awaits but more of the same cookie-cutter activities you've done already.
Cookie cutter. What the fuck does she mean exactly by that?
Well, repetitive missions. I encountered this in Metal Gear Solid 5.
But
I know
she doesn't explain it. She doesn't fucking explain this.
Yeah, she doesn't explain what activities are cookie cutter. So.
Yeah, she's basically talking. I think I know what she's talking. I think I know what she's talking about. All the missions, like the repetitive missions over and over, like you have to assassinate some random Yahoo, or go on a chase, or pick up some item, or investigate something, stuff like that, or unlock.
Well, I can understand. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Or unlock a treasure chest or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah,
like,
but again, she doesn't go into detail. She explains nothing about the fucking game mechanics.
Well, let's go ahead and.
Well, on top of that,
let's see if she does describe it. Press play.
In gameplay terms, this is just another Assassin's Creed. And like some other Assassin's...
That was it. It's just another Assassin's Creed.
Because it's Assassin's Creed. What do you want? Like, what do you want?
I have a feeling. Okay, I have a feeling she's going to, in the end, say that, as you can see, women are being oppressed by this game and should never play this game. she'll probably give that after school special.
Well, we're only a minute away from the end. Let's play.
Yeah, let's go ahead and continue.
This is 1 out of 5 oppression points.
Syndicate is plagued with plenty of wonkiness. Enemy AI often behaves in erratic ways. NPCs sometimes become unable to fulfill mission-specific functions. And occasionally things just break entirely.
That is funny.
Despite all of
Yeah, but those are just
Okay.
3 examples.
She should have mentioned that they were all glitches. Like she couldn't really.
Well, if she knew what fucking games are, she would have said that. But she said, "Oh, it's occasionally the game." Oh my god.
Speaking
Yeah, and
as
I
a
noticed-
game reviewer, and I can vouch for this, what she did was the same thing that most new game reviewers do, is that they say one thing and they linger very long on one specific instance of it in a video review and think that's enough. For a game of this size, you need to present a bit more than that.
Especially when I noticed in that game they brought they brought in the what was that one game I remember? That one mechanic specifically from Splinter Cell series. I forgot which one. Splinter Cell Conviction, where you basically see that you're in one place after another.
And
I
I just have to point out as well, the thing she says, it's just another, it's what you can expect from an Assassin's Creed game. It's the same thing she said at the beginning of the video, if you can remember that. So,
Oh, so that was a brick joke. Okay, so he's using continuity, which is okay. Alright, press play.
its problems, Syndicate deserves to be acknowledged for its cast of characters, and particularly for its treatment of women. The game's narrative leaves much to be desired, but Syndicate gives us an image of a world in which the existence of women as people is treated as completely normal. And that is certainly refreshing and sadly strange in a AAA gaming climate that still so often struggles with representing women as actual human beings.
Jeez.
Did you guys...
Okay.
That last sentence blew my fucking mind with how stupid it was.
I sort of called it.
What
but
is
it was close
straw
enough.
man? What a fucking straw man.
Hold on. I got something for that. I got something. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Hold on. Just give me a second. Alright. I got it.
Yes.
Alright. Okay. I'm going to screen share this.
I'm so excited.
Alright. Let's do this.
Yes?
There we go. Oh, why the fuck you lying?
Okay. Yes, the industry has bad writing. That doesn't mean it's singling out women for the bad writing.
Okay, but here's the thing. That's, like, from one critic to another. All I can say is there's a difference between being a critic and being an idiot. And that review in and of itself was downright fraudulent. After all that talk about women, the characters, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
what about the game?
And I
about the
can't
game?
believe
What about
believe
the game?
Ubisoft gave her a copy review of this game.
Well, it's because they want the PR, right? Because you got to remember, Gamergate's still on the wrong edge of the PR wars. So she has clout on their side of things, okay? That's why this is still happening. People don't like to admit it, but Gamergate is still on the wrong side of the PR war.
Yeah, they
No,
are, but that's the problem.
It's true. Oh, it's true. You're never gonna win the PR battle, so.
Well, never say never. I mean, something may
Well,
happen.
so far,
Who knows?
so far it's gone to shit. But just the whole fucking review of 9 minutes is pure bullshit. Where she had like 20 seconds of reviewing or having legit criticism of the game. The rest was only subjective opinion of the story, basically. That was
Didn't present much
it.
opinion to back
Okay.
up her opinions, or in much detail to back them up.
But not
Yeah.
only that, like if you were to compare the review I just gave and compare it to her review, she doesn't even go into like the full mechanics of the game. She doesn't talk about like the different challenges, like the things like you can do in the game. I mean, like remember how she was talking about like, you know, the atypical grind of like missions without going into detail? I mean, that's the nature of an open world game. that is the nature of the beast. I mean, yes, like sometimes you're not gonna be, you know, like doing something new every 15 minutes. But that doesn't mean there's like nothing to.
What the
about
fuck
that.
was that?
No, that was me. Sorry about that.
It's okay. But I mean, it's not like there's like nothing to do in the game. And I think Total Biscuit also talked about it, where he was talking about, you know, like some of the missions that are set in the open world that you can do, even if it's just like side quests. People see it as just, you know, the atypical, boring, busy work or whatever. But at the same time, that's the type of thing that you're mostly gonna get from an open world game. Like those types of missions, especially the side missions, are like what's gonna be a part of the game. Like even games like Skyrim were like you know, like they had this, and some people may see it as a problem, but at the same time, that's just the nature of the beast.
I was playing Watchdog.
I think what the main problem is nowadays with game critics and the general rift between gamers is the value judgment. I mean, a critic can and probably should look at a game like, let's say, Metal Gear Solid 5 and say, there's a lot of repetitive stuff here that happens. That means the game isn't as good as, let's say, I don't know, a game with less fluff in it. But a gamer could look at that stuff and say, well, that'll give me like 150 hours of content. That's money well spent. How do you bridge that gap?
Well, it depends, because, like, say, for example, something like say, like Dynasty Warriors, which in my opinion, granted, this is my opinion, is one of the more like, repetitive games out there, right? Where it's just basically stage after stage after stage, just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But that's what a Dynasty Warriors game is, right? And, of course, they change and upgrade certain things here and there with every iteration, but like, of course, like the core thing is not going to change. You see what I mean?
Yeah, the mapping, it's basically the same thing. And it's not a, you know, and that game actually is a very cult favorite among gamers sometimes when you play that game. But sometimes people would probably dislike the new Dynasty Warriors and they want the old Dynasty Warriors sometimes to play the old one.
Well, I mean, like, there's also, like, the thing that, like, you can have, like, fun with the game, like, even in, like, the most unorthodox of ways. Like, for example, like, me and a friend of mine, like, when we play Where's Orochi, like, we just do the dumbest stuff in that game. Just do, like, the most ridiculous stuff. Like, what we do is that we see, like, a whole bunch of enemies. Like, my friend would, like, go out, and then he'd try to line up all the enemies as best he can, and then I just come in on my horse and just run through them like a Mack truck and just watch them fly off into the air. It's amazing.
I think one of the ways you could bridge the gap is for critics and gamers to
Well,
sorry,
for one,
I lost track. I lost track of my thoughts. But generally, if a critic analyzes something from the value of let's say, the long-term impact of a game might have. Like, let's say this game isn't perfect, and people will realize that in a few years. And then gamers, once more games come out a couple or so years down the line that totally outclass the current game that they're crying at critics is so much better than what the critics were saying, and they forget about that game entirely. Doesn't that justify it a tiny bit?
Well, I mean, like, keep in mind, like, you're always going to have, like, differing opinions, because that's the whole point of a review. It's like an opinion piece, right? But, so I could say, you know, like, one game may be fun for me, and I could recommend it, but of course other people may not like, say the same thing. Perfect example of this is, like, one of my favorite fighting games, Gundam Battle Assault 3. Even though critics gave it, like, low scores for whatever reason, I personally liked the game because it was fun for me. I enjoyed it and all the stuff you could do in that game. Like, it depends really, and everybody's gonna have their own opinions. You can't fight that. You can't change that. You know what I mean?
No, it's more like let's say you get a game. It's more about, like, what is it? Shaving down the loose edges. Like, for example, you get a game that's universally acclaimed, then you get this one jackass who gives it a 20 out of 10. Like, there was one guy who actually called Dark Souls 2 one of the worst games ever made. He was in Forbes.
But I mean, that's his opinion, though, right?
Yeah, but that's an objectively fucking wrong opinion. You can prove that shit. Like, you just show him E.T. and you can say, like, oh, fuck you. Like, there's gotta be some way to smooth out the rough edges of criticism in video games.
Well, first of all, you don't like shut down the comment section. That's one thing.
Yeah.
And,
That's
like,
a big no-no.
And of course, like, if you're gonna make for any review whatsoever, especially video reviews, if you're gonna like make some sort of claim, like any claim about the game whatsoever, like show exactly what you mean. Like a perfect example of this is Angry Joe. Like whenever he talks about like whatever problems or whatever triumphs a game may have, like he'll showcase them, like showcase exactly what you mean. You know what I'm saying?
But in a humorous way.
Well,
in a humorous way.
Well, the point is, like, you're trying to, like, prove a point and, like, give, like, a perfect example of it, right? In a written review, it's, like, a bit harder because you're only describing it. And, like, of course, like, with a written review or, like, an audio review, you're going to have to use your imagination unless, like, you're talking about the dialogue and you're giving, like, a line that people can actually hear. But, like, with a video review, it's much easier because, like, you can visually see exactly like what the critic is talking about.
Yeah. Is there any last thoughts on the Anita Sarkeesian review before we move on to our final topic?
Well, like I said,
I think she's crazy.
Well, as I said before, there's a difference between being a critic and being an idiot. And what she just did was downright fraudulent. And this is coming from a game critic.
She has mediocre skills at best as a game reviewer at this point in time.
You're being very generous. You're being very generous.
And she never played any of the games. She should have familiarized playing with all the Assassin's Creed games and actually try to understand why they had these mechanics in the first place.
No. She doesn't have to play all of them. But if she's gonna make statements that are relevant to other games in the series, play the fucking games you're gonna mention.
Oh yeah, and by the way, if you're gonna review any sort of game, only judge the game based on its merits alone.
Yes.
Leave your biases, leave your preconceived notions. Leave whatever you got at the door and just come in with a blank slate and judge the game for what it is. That's what you have to do.
And this is a total failure of that. Well, let's move on to the next topic, which is the One Life game on Steam, which on Steam Greenlight. Let me present to everyone. There we go. I don't know if you guys heard about this. Just let me read, so you get an idea of what this is. One Life is the first multiplayer survival game with permadeath. If you die, you will leave the game forever. Will you manage to survive in this harsh world full of dangers? Upgrade your battle truck and set off for hotspot with friends. Play with your own rules, but remember, your every move can be the last one. If you die in this game, you can never play again. Every move you make can be your last one. Enemy bullet, infected bite, starvation, friends betrayal. Danger lurks around every corner. Are you ready to face the most intense, authentic experience in your life? Ultra hardcore gameplay. If your character dies, you will never play the game again. Classic systems of needs.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something that sounds like a crazy,
how much is the game?
crazy
How much
person
is the
would
game?
play.
How much
It's on Greenlight.
Yeah, it's on Greenlight right now.
So
Okay.
I got a couple of questions. So, like when you play this game, like it's a custom character, right? Or is this like a pre-made character?
I think it's just a pre-made character.
It's just a pre-made character? Okay. Well, here's the thing. Like if it was something like Diablo, like on hardcore difficulty, where you get to make a character, and then if your character died, like on that level, like you'll never play as that character again. If it was something like that, then I could see this being like a fun little challenge.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if it's like a pre-made character and you're trying to, tell this story or do something else with the game, and you can never play the game again, then that's you gotta admit that's pretty stupid.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's just not just stupid. If it were something like DayZ, for instance, where you have a character, you build up your inventory and stuff like that, and if the character dies, you lose everything. But you're not shut out of the fucking game. And I would say this is very anti-consumer because you actually own the content of the game, but you don't have access to it. I'm sorry, but this is. I really
well, it
hope
depends on
that
how much the game goes on for. Let's just analyze this for when it comes out of Greenlight. If it comes out on Greenlight and it's $30, that is a travesty beyond any measurable thing. If it's even $5, it's a travesty. If it's $1 and you have to rebuy the game if you want to play again, maybe I can sort of see a thing for it, because it would almost be like almost one of those free-to-play games on mobile, almost at that point.
But the thing is, you would have to be paying to play every single time. That's the most annoying thing. Whereas, like, when you play any other game, you just click on the game and go. You buy the game once, and that's the problem. You buy the game once and
which
you
is my
play.
point. You actually own the game when you buy it the first time, and you have to buy it again, which is so anti-consumer. If there were in-game, if you wanted to revive something and pay microtransaction to play, I wouldn't have any issue. But you actually pay for the game itself, access to it, which you already own.
And even if the game was free, like the fact that you get a free game, you download it, and you play it once, and somehow you die, and you can't play it again, like what is that? Like that's probably one of the dumbest things you could ever do for a game entirely. You make a game where you can only die once, and you never play the game again. Like,
yeah, just
look
at the comments.
You're not gonna allow people to play it.
Yeah, just look at the comments here. I'm just before we continue. Roses are red, violets are blue. The premise is foolish, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Sorry, I only have one chance to review, and I have no backspace key. Syntax and grammatical errors be damned. One chance to make this review count. Something witty. Something witty. Fuck, I got it. Paying $10 for a game.
He could have been like, his knees are sweaty, his arms are heavy, mom's spaghetti. He could have gone with that line.
Yeah, but here, paying $10 for a game of this nature is like paying $10 to my ex-wife not to be a whore. Adrian, fuck you! Fuck! I gave you the best years of my life, and this is how you repay me? Good. God damn it. You take my hard-earned money and run off with the pool boy. I got your one life. Right here, goddamn backspace key. If it worked, would go back in time and never greenlight. You 7 times over. Yet you'll get greenlighted by the stupid little codders.
Now, okay, that's hilarious. But do you guys
he makes the point. He makes the point.
Yeah, he does. Do you guys remember a few months ago when a game called The Flock released?
No, I don't remember The Flock.
Okay, so The Flock was a game, Total Biscuit did a video on it, where essentially it was a multiplayer game where after the community died a certain amount of times, the game would be unplayable. Similar to this situation, except it had like 317 million lives, so and with the amount of sales it had, it was going to take with the amount of sales it had, it was probably going to take 1 billion years to reach that. But
oh wow.
we're starting to see gimmicks like this. And hey, do you remember that Polygon article I posted on my Twitter feed where they complained about people not buying their games?
Oh
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was the dumbest thing I ever read. I mean, like, come on. It's called the market of free ideas for a reason. If
Yeah,
people
well,
don't
in
like
their
the
eyes,
game,
the
they're
market
not gonna
shouldn't
buy
exist.
it.
The market shouldn't exist according to these people. Yours to be forced to play the games that they like, or else you're a monster.
Yeah, right.
And
Oh,
if you look at the comments, they're ripping this one a new one.
It's not even free, and it's a waste of. It's
you know
it's not even. It's free, and it's a waste of money. I love it.
But you know
There was
what?
a game called. Do you remember a game called Yaris?
Yaris. That sounds familiar.
Yeah, there was a game called Yaris in the Xbox 360. It was free.
Oh,
It was
it
made by
says
Microsoft.
it says the game is $10.
The game is. Oh wow.
Oh wow!
Hey guys.
Hey, what's the developer's name? What's the developer's name? Show it to me.
It's a Russian developer.
Wait, show me the name.
Where is it? Where's the developer's name?
Scroll down. It should be there.
It says one.
But just to make a point, like, to say something like, oh, if you don't buy the game, it's your fault. That's pretty much the whole Mega Man Legends 3 argument all over again. That's pretty much what it is.
It is $10.
Yeah, what I said.
Holy shit.
If you pay money for this shit.
And you have to be paying $10 just to play the game over and over and over again. Yeah, right. Get out of here.
Hang on, guys. They said, hi guys, by the way. They wrote some on the FAQ. It says that a player. Okay, here's the question: a player bought the game, entered the world, and immediately got killed. Is this possible? Okay. Only.
Oh my God! Look at the downloads.
Ouch, man.
You fucking what, man?
Is this a joke?
Oh, God.
Arcade only costs 50 cents to play one time.
Oh, 1,400 upvotes. The console would look better if this ban and you voted day max. But I
love this. Sorry. I love this. Buy the game. Die in less than 2 hours. Refund.
Yeah, that's what I would. That's what. Hang on. That's what I was saying, right? I mean, they can use the Steam refund system. If you play, let's say for 5 minutes, and you fucking die, all you have to do is refund the game because of Steam's refund system.
Yeah.
They're gonna lose. I mean, they're gonna lose money on this because let's say you play for an hour and you fucking die, and hey, contact Steam refund, get your money back. But I still gotta say, as much as you say that this is anti-consumer, and I agree that it is, people are actually stupid enough to buy this. I mean, people will buy it.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I don't disagree with you there. But again, oh my God.
I love that comment. Steam refunds. Oi!
They're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna make a lot of money on this because anybody who's played a game and dies after an hour is easily gonna just refund it. So I don't really see the point. I don't see the point of it, honestly. And,
maybe they're just trolling everybody.
Who was the guy that made the comment about the arcades or something like that?
He was up a bit.
Oh, okay. What was his comment again?
I think you pay $10 for one life in this game. In arcade, you spend 50 cents to play once.
Exactly, and not only that. Like in arcades, like you're playing on an arcade machine you don't own, that doesn't belong to you, belongs to the arcade. But in this day and age, when everybody owns a console or a PC and you buy the game and that game is yours, you should be able to play it as many times as you want. This isn't the arcades anymore.
Look at this! Look at this salty fucker. I'm gonna get an aimbot and just fuck everyone up.
But you know what? With a game like this, like who can blame him? Like, who can blame him? Like, you die once and you can't play again. Like, what is that? You might as well.
Yes.
You might as well.
So how is everybody with all this business?
Jeez.
Well,
Like,
I don't know how well. I mean, the game. I mean, for the aesthetics part, I mean, how the game actually looks. It looks pretty nice, but I don't get it. He seemed to have spent quite. I mean, if these screenshots are any indication on how the game is actually going to look, I have to say he spent all this time designing the game to look like this, only to have some people play it for 5 minutes and then fucking die and then never be able to play it again. I don't get it. I mean, it's not even good business sense, because he's not gonna make any money. It's not even a good way to scam people, because of the Steam. It's not even a good way to scam people. I don't understand how the concept is. I mean, I heard some talk that one of the things inside the game was something called safe play. I'm not kidding. It's actually called safe play, and what that means is that you can basically play the game and not choose the one life death option. But if you want to, if they include that choice that you're able to play the game multiple times over, then I truly don't get it.
Yeah, what's the point? At that point, it's just a marketing gimmick then.
Yeah, pretty.
A very poor one at that. And it's like, here's the thing. Like, I can like give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe it's just like an honest mistake. Like, they probably thought they were doing something cool. Maybe they thought they were doing something cool, and like this was like an honest mistake. So if that be the case, like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But
you fucking not, what, mate? You fucking what?
Now calm down, hear me out here. But I mean, if this is like a blatant, if they wanted to like really like be like, if they really wanted to be like really conning like about this, or like really cunning or whatever, then they wouldn't have like mentioned this at all. They would have just let it go on without people knowing what's going on, and then they would have just ripped people out of their money left and right. At least they're being honest about it. At the very least. Like, that I will give them credit for.
But I still don't get, I just think a lot of people don't get it, honestly, because, even if this, I mean, it sounds like an interesting idea, but except for the fact that if you can't ever play it again, then it's okay. So people will just use the Steam refund system.
Yeah, but if you take a look at, I tried posting this in KA because I think it's a stupid idea, and just everyone just basically because I said it was anti, what was it? Yeah, the game is fucking consumable. Just describing the game, and basically just saying what this has to do with ethics, and
well, it has to do with ethics, because the ethical thing is that you make a game for people to play, and if you are only allowed to play the game once and then never again, then what is the point? That is the ethical issue here.
If it was free,
and not only that, you're going to be charging money for
because
this.
No one's making any money. They're making $10 a pop off this.
Yeah, which is a blatant ripoff.
Yeah, but still, but I disagree that this is a consumer issue, and because I think the main reason is that if here's my point about this, because I believe in something called personal responsibility, and I also believe that if you're stupid enough to spend $10 on this game, even though it clearly states that he's not tricking anybody, he's upfront with the fact that if you play this game and you die, you will not get to play it again. Now, listen. Let me finish my point. It's if you still are willing to shell out the $10 and buy this game, then that's on you, not the guy who made it. I'm sorry. There it is.
That's true. That is true. However, as a game developer, you want people to play your game more than once, especially.
Oh
And
yeah,
like
I'm not saying that I understand his reasoning behind this because I don't because the funny thing about this is that he's gonna lose money on this because you could, like I said, Steam refund is in place. You can they could easily refund their money.
You know
Yeah,
what? It would be funny if there was actually like a person like who plays the game, dies, gets the Steam refund, buys it again.
You know, I kind of imagine that happening, but
Oh,
I
man.
agree that it's not unethical per se, unless he was tricking people, which he is not.
Yeah, he was, like I said, he was open about it. But at the
Yes.
same time, you know, you're making a game that people will want to play for like a long period of time. So
You could actually equate this to the cigarette thing because it's like people buying cigarettes today. You can't decide to take up smoking, and once you get lung cancer or get really shitty in your lungs, you can't say, "Oh, but I didn't know that cigarettes were unhealthy," even though you got big fucking warnings on the packets. So he basically but you can use that example because he's blatantly states this is what will happen if you play the game and you die. He's
but
not. That is the whole gimmick of the game. You can't say you try to hide it when that's the whole gimmick.
you own the game, but you don't have access to it.
No,
That's
because
my issue.
Yeah, but it's a licensing thing as well. I mean, you could actually
Yeah, but
argue that.
yeah, it's basically a license which you buy. It's not a game.
Well, all games have licenses. I mean, it's like you don't own the Star Wars name. You don't own. I mean, okay, if we're gonna take this into another discussion, but let's say you buy Star Wars Battlefront for some idiotic reason. I do not recommend buying that game because it looks like shit. But if you buy it, and you can't say that, oh, I own every single thing that is on this disc. Technically not. You are buying a license to play this game because it's a legal copy. You have purchased it, and EA, like any other business in the world, has terms of service. Now, a lot of people, they just scroll through that shit when they read it. It's like using iTunes is a licensing issue. So it's like that. You're not paying for the actual pixels. You're paying for the privilege to play it.
But if let's say if you buy a physical copy of a game, let's say a single player game that has no online, let's say Mass Effect 1. You can play it whenever you want, 10 years, 100 years from now. Granted, you have a TV screen and electricity. You can play. That wouldn't be the case here, or as well as of course in MMO or DRM games. That's where.
That's true, but I mean, even though it's a single-player game, because even though it's a single-player game, the licensing thing is still the same. You know, people got into a lot of trouble when they tried modifying certain games. I remember there was this huge issue a few years ago when it came to a EA game. I don't remember which game it was, but people were actually banned for modifying a single-player game. And technically, when you bought the game and you decided to play it, you actually agreed to that licensing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's the licensing thing in effect.
True, but it's kind of different though because you actually bought the game itself and you can play it compared to this where you're basically fucked if you're if you die in this game.
Yeah, I agree, but if you buy it. If you buy this game, I wouldn't, and I don't recommend anybody else should buy it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. So if you buy this game, here's what you are actually agreeing to when you buy it. He's upfront with this. There is no secret what he's doing. If you buy this game and you die, you don't get to play it again. You accept that when you pay the $10. That is what you do.
But you know what? This also kind of reminds me of the whole. Like, remember when Microsoft launched, this was like before Microsoft launched the Xbox One, and they were going through the whole DRM thing, right? And basically they were making that same argument. It's like, oh, when you buy the disc or when you buy the game digitally especially, you don't actually own the game. You only own the rights. Like, that's that sort of argument, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, right, you made a product and you put the product out there for people to use. So really, like when you make anything, like whether it be like a game, a movie, whatever, they're supposed to be able to like do whatever they want with it.
Mhm.
And like be it like trading or like renting or whatever. And like even now, like after the backlash, they have now embraced modders, and they actually allow them to and they actually give them tools to actually mod their games now.
Yeah, just look at the Xbox One with Fallout 4 and the PlayStation 4.
I agree with that, but here's the thing about I mean, you know, it's crazy to think, because I remember a time where there were lawsuits for anything. I'm sure you all heard about the
remember that. I remember.
Yeah, you know the Pokemon thing that happened to that guy in the U.S. where he was sued for making a fucking poster. Now, here's the crazy thing about the licensing laws. I don't agree with these laws, but that's the way, legally, that's the way it is. You don't have to agree with it, but that's the way it is. But it's like, if you, technically, people who made there was somebody who was pissed off at the ending at Mass Effect 3, right? So there were modders that actually made a happy ending mod. According to the law and according to the terms of service agreement that EA had, you know, EA could actually sue these people who made that ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But,
mean,
they could actually do that and say that you
yeah,
were.
they could.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, I've been like, whenever I talk about copyright with people, like I always do say this, like copyright is a very, very fickle mistress, and everybody is affected by it. Like perfect example of this. Like, remember when somebody was making this online Pokemon game and Nintendo took it down?
Yeah, I remember that.
And this was like a fan-made game. I'm not sure like whether or not like he was trying to make money off of it, but like,
no, it was free. It was free.
The same happened to the guy who made basically a full 3D version of Chrono Trigger. The guy made a fully realized Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, and when I was with 2-, there was this Kickstarter campaign that wanted to make a Metroid fan project on Kickstarter, and that got taken down right quick.
Yeah. And like, also you have to keep in mind that like every single YouTuber that is out there is also struggling with copyright law, especially the Let's Players.
Mm-hmm.
The Let's Players like are like right there, front and center of this, and it's a very fickle mistress. Like you want to make games, and like you're not actually like trying to make money off the Let's Play, right? Like you're just like, and not only that, under copyright law, like you're actually like using the video like plus commentary, so you should be protected under that law. But of course, you know, the big corporations like want to make their money, so they're gonna try and do everything they can to make them like to make you like give them like, the money off.
Well,
of your money.
there is a clause that states that it also can't be something that would feasibly replace the original article in competition. Like, that could be seen as a real replacement. That's why you can't just play a whole movie through and through in a review. You would have to, like, edit parts of it out and actually transform it.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, like, I can imagine, like, a guy, like, putting out a walkthrough video. Not even a Let's Play, a walkthrough, with no commentary whatsoever of just an entire game, and you could say that is something that may be in conflict with that, but at the same time, everybody who makes a walkthrough video is different. They're gonna do things differently. Yeah. I mean, sure, there are certain things like story, and maybe even like the soundtrack that are gonna be like the same no matter what. But
the biggest problem in what we're discussing right now, especially when it comes to copyright law, and I think I can say that this goes for every single copyright law the world over, and that is the fact that the technology is evolving so fast, and the current copyright laws are ridiculously out of date, and and the problem is that they are not. They are reading the law from the way it was written like 25 years ago. I think our copyright laws we have I live in Norway and so does Andrea also. We both have our laws are ridiculously out of date. I mean,
yeah, it's the same thing here in Canada, and I'm pretty sure in America they're going through the same thing. Yeah, like copyright law definitely needs to be upgraded, and I think like the general public, especially the YouTubers, like need to be a part of this discussion so that we can set clear grounds as to like what is acceptable as not and what is not in terms of copyright. Because I mean, like the let's players, like they're like a huge part of like the industry now. Like the companies like Sony and Microsoft are actually allowing people like to do let's plays and walkthroughs of their games, which of course is pretty much free advertising, and because of that, more people are going out to buy the games.
yeah, I mean, several companies have realized that. I remember when Capcom went on the DMCA tirade.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
I mean, they were DMCAing every video they could get their hands on, and the problem was that the only thing that led to was horrible press. And it turns out that there was an interview with Capcom in America, and a lot of the American and European offices of Capcom, they really disagree with with Capcom Japan in DMCAing people, because they realize this is good advertising, and it seems like Japan doesn't really get the whole let's play thing.
Yeah, just look at.
Well, I wouldn't say like every single company in Japan, but there are certainly a lot of prominent companies in Japan that don't understand it, like Nintendo, Capcom for one, Sega,
Square,
being another one.
Square, I think as well.
Yeah. And
Sony is from Japan, and they don't have any issue with it, as far as I know. They've been really good with it.
Yeah, I think they realize that this is I mean, they're doing really well when it comes to the gaming market right now. I mean, they are beating the hell out of the Xbox One. I think they realize that, hey, this is good. We don't need to mess with our customers, and because people are buying shit. And I think also that, I remember being on a stream, another Gamergate stream, where I was basically dissing Konami for an hour. I was on Nurgle's stream, and I was dissing Konami for an hour. And we had another friend of ours that Sonic was playing Metal Gear Solid 2, and that video was taken down by Konami Japan because
my God, really?
Yeah. And here's the interesting part. They made another video where Sonic also played Metal Gear Solid on the stream, but I didn't talk shit about Konami on that stream, and that video was allowed to stay up. But I basically went on this hour-long rant about the bosses in Konami in Japan, about it. They're fucking idiots. They're talentless.
Well, they are fucking idiots.
And all of a sudden, DMCA taken down.
But you know what? Like, you're not the only one. Like Tyler Valle did an entire series called Sins of, was it Sins of
our Publishers? No, Sins of Our Publishers.
Yeah, Sins of Our Publishers. Yeah, and he went to on about Konami in length.
I think it was the first one. It was the first one, I believe.
Yeah, and not only that, Alpha Omega Sin also made numerous videos about Konami, especially with their recent business decisions. There are a lot of people, and you know what? I think there should be a stream where, maybe somebody who is part of a AAA development company, and maybe one of us, the gamers, should sit down and have a discussion about these certain things, because when it comes to business, in order for a company to thrive and flourish, they have to listen. They have to be paying attention to what is going on within the market, and there are limited ways for them to do that. So maybe if we can give them an open invitation to hear us out and so they actually know what we want, maybe they can take it into consideration.
I agree with that. The problem is that I think that I agree with what you're saying, but the idea here is that the developers, the people who are actually making these games, the real development team, the coders, the animators, they are on our side. The people we need to talk to are the executives, the people who And that's the people we need to talk to. They are the ones making the decisions. They're the ones who have a responsibility to their investors, because we need to remember, as much as we love our hobby, we all love gaming, but we have to remember as fact that an executive only gives a damn about one thing, and that is, am
Money.
I fulfilling my promise? Yeah,
Can't
money
make the
to my
scene if you ain't got
investors.
the green.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying we need to talk to the executives, not the developers, and that's not going to happen.
Just
Well,
something
never
interesting.
say never. I mean, there may be a time when we can do it. Who knows?
You said something interesting though, Captain, because you said gamers, because you didn't say journalists, because we can't really trust the big ones like let's say GameSpot or Kotaku, Polygon, or journalists who were supposed to do stuff like that and actually have access to do stuff like that, but don't.
And they prefer to blame us for not making them care.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Game journalists, for the longest time, had the opportunity to ask the hard-hitting questions, to actually sit down and have a discussion. And for years, they did not. They did not take that opportunity, even though they were in the position to do so.
And even when they did, it just seemed token. Like it didn't actually matter. So you asked one hard-hitting question. Where's the rest of them?
Well, here's what happened. I mean, the Escapists did do that. They did ask the tough questions, but the Escapist was blacklisted by Konami for asking the hard questions. They were refused. They refused to give them previews of games. They refused to give them review copies. They were shutting them out, and they were being blacklisted. So there's also this risk for any gaming publication of being blacklisted, and then you have the shitty system.
But you know what that's gonna achieve? It's not gonna achieve a lot, because if journalists are not gonna talk about your game, you're not gonna get coverage, and people are not gonna read about your game.
And here's the thing, like you mentioned the journalists, right? I wish there was some sort of SPJ for game journalists. I wish there was. And you know what? If people need me to make the rule book on game journalism, I would be happy to do so. Because you know what? We have seen like a whole bunch of cronyism going on, and we've been aware of this for years, but we didn't have any solid evidence to bring it out into the open until recently.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I just about that point. We haven't had solid evidence. Even with Jeff Gerstmann getting fired, we all knew what happened, but we didn't have any proof until 2013, I believe it was, when GameSpot bought Giant Bomb, and they had an interview and told the whole story, and that was like 5 years after, and nobody really gave a damn then.
But you know, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, but I just want to ask a question. Like, with everything that's going on right now, do you think that anybody would be interested in going into journalism of any kind, not just games journalism, but journalism of any kind, with what's going on right now?
Well, as someone who has worked as a journalist, I worked for several newspapers. I have to say that if you look at the big press, the current big press, journalism today is something completely different as it was like 10 years or even 5 years ago. And the reason for it is that there's nothing, I mean, objective journalism, unbiased journalism, that ended a long time ago. The only journalists who are unbiased are the freelancers who do not answer to anybody. Those are the people who you should trust, the people who don't answer to any major corporations or any major newspaper. And 90% of the newspapers today, the big press, the Wall Street, the World, New York Times, and so on, they are financed by advertisement. Now there was this crazy article a couple of years ago where there were an article in the New York Times where they were talking about women in prisons, and you know what they actually used as a commercial for that particular article?
Let me guess.
The whole article was essentially a commercial for an advertisement for Netflix's Orange is the New Black.
Wow.
Yeah, the article was real. The article was real and dealt with some serious topics about how women are treated in U.S. prisons. But they actually used the Netflix article on advertisement.
Oh, jeez.
About Orange is the New Black. So this is, I mean, I don't think this is a coincidence, to be quite honest. But, you know.
All right, I'm
But you
gonna
know
go. But
Okay.
you guys, this debate, like about journalism, Gamergate has got to continue this shit for a very long time. This is why we're at the SPJ. It's why we're at South by Southwest.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be around for a bit. Stick around. Stay tuned.
We're not going anywhere for a long while.
All right. See ya.
All right. Take care,
See
man.
ya.
But like anyway. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
No, just gonna continue. It's basically we've kind of exhausted the topics, so we can finish this train of thought and then close down the stream. That's what I thought.
But you know what? Like, as somebody who is actually like studying journalism, who's in his second year of broadcasting, I can tell you, like, when people created journalism, like the origins of journalism, it was supposed to be open, transparent, and honest. Get the facts out there to the general public. But now it has gone to God knows where you see journalists and news reporters completely throwing the rule book out of the window. And like, I never watched, as a kid, I never watched the news before because I always thought it was boring. Like, I only ever watched it when I was like with my family, right? But I didn't really much care. But now that I'm in the now that I have like at least some sort of interest in the field, right? You would expect like something like good out of it. But after learning about it, I have a lot of questions that need to be answered before even considering going into that field. But like, for everybody who wants to get into games journalism, like you don't have to shy away from it. Like, it's a fun thing. Like, me and some friends of mine who run checkpointgames.ca, like, we're pretty much like passionate about games. That's why we even got into like creating our own website in the first place, is because of that passion. And if you're passionate about it, then go ahead with it. But please, 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 if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of journalism, please brush up on your ethics. It is very important. And if you're...
Yeah, but the problem...
Yeah,
the main
sorry.
issue here is that I don't agree with you, man. I completely agree, but the problem is when I've seen this happen on several occasions, and I also heard from friends of mine who are journalists who have been working in that field for. I have a friend of mine. I know he's been working for a newspaper for 15 years, and he said.
Hello.
Oh, he dropped out. Well, we can continue this off air. He seems to be cutting out sometimes. But before we close, I have a funny thing I do before we close. So
Okay.
listen to this.
And then people say, oh, the wall doesn't work. You ask Israel whether or not a wall works. Believe me, a wall properly done, a Trump wall works. That I can tell you. That I can tell you.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. I cut off. I was going to finish my point, but if you want to close this down, Andrea, that's fine.
Well, we can continue off air because we basically talked about everything. So we can continue off air. So is there anything you guys want to share?
Not really, except, well, I don't mean to be a dirty shill, but meh. Might as well do it. You can check me out at checkpointgames.ca. Check out the website. If you guys are looking for like alternative sources of games journalism, considering that there's barely anything out there right now, you can check out that website. Like, you'll find everything you need, from news articles to reviews and everything fun in between.
All right. As I said, I'm gonna change up my channel a bit, and I tried to reach out to people when when I do these sort of things. I was a little thin with people today, but I like doing interviews and stuff like that. And yeah,
Well,
if you want to do a stream with me about like anything, I'm up for it. And I do. I've done a lot of streams from my PS4 lately about games. So yeah, that's where I'm taking my direction, where I kind of split my doing these sort of streams with talking to people. I'm gonna try to do videos as well, but I need to buy proper software to do that, and do gaming streams. So that's what I do. So
And
yeah.
one more little pro tip. In this day and age, I would actually recommend, if you're going to be doing game reviews, I would recommend buying the game that you plan on reviewing. Because in this day and age, even like review copies can be a bit sketchy. So
Yeah.
buy the game, make your review, do your thing.
If you're gonna get a review copy, I disclose it for fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna close down. We're gonna probably continue to talk off air. Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. See ya later.